We had a chance to hear from Chris Ballard today, the general manager of your Indianapolis Colts. He had a few things to say. Interesting. Tyquan Lewis, he's going to open training camp on the PUP list, going to be there for a couple of weeks. Will Mallory is really, really close with that foot that he screwed up during rookie minicamp. He is really close now. That was interesting. Then we heard things about the quarterback position, which I didn't really buy. One thing was that Sam Ehlinger is competing for playing time. That's ridiculous. We know that's ridiculous. We know it's Sam Ehlinger and it's Anthony Richardson, not in that order, who are vying for playing time. And so, sometimes you get the real deal from Chris Ballard. Sometimes he's protecting his information. Sometimes he doesn't want to reveal it to the players themselves. I get it. One thing that he talks about that I think you're going to find interesting is about the playing time for Anthony Richardson. Whose decision is it going to be? He mentions Jim Irsay as part of that brain trust. That I found interesting. Here's Chris Ballard from earlier today.
So we're excited to get started. In terms of injuries, what I will tell you is they're still giving physicals. The two that I will tell you that for sure will start out on PUP will be Tyquan Lewis, as he's just getting back from last year's injury. Tyquan's a vet. He knows how to play. We'll take our time. He's getting close, but it'll be a couple weeks. And then the other one is Will Mallory, who had a foot issue, here in the spring. But he's really close to being back. There could be a couple guys that won't practice early, but I need to get the physical reports back before I give you complete information on that. All right, time's yours. Fire away.
Can you give us an update on Shaq?
Yeah. First thing is, let me tell you, he has worked extremely hard. He has passed the physical, but that does not mean he will be back in full contact. All right. We've got a progression in play here. He'll start out practice, and pretty much just go through individual, start building his endurance back up. But slowly but surely, we'll get there. He has worked extremely hard. There's really no timeline on exactly when he'll be completely cleared for contact. But it's good to get him back out. Just his presence back on the team, back out in drill work, is important for us.
Has his progress this time been different than before? I don't know how easy that is to assess.
It's hard, because it was, he had a little bit of it's the nerve issue.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what I will tell you is it's been really good. And he has diligently worked, to get back. So, we'll just see. Time will tell on it overall, but right now very encouraged.
Chris, do you expect to get something out of JT before the start of the year?
Yeah, we're not going to get into. Me on the contracts. We're not going to get into what kind of contract negotiations we're getting into with any of our guys. So we'll move forward as we. Look, we've been. Our history's really good, But saying that, we're coming off a 4-win season. We have a new coaching staff. So we'll kind of let it play out as it does, and make those decisions when we need to make those decisions.
You've done the extensions prior. I think all of them have been before the season has started.
Mm-hmm.
Would you let something get into the season?
We could, and we've done. Remember, we did Grover.
Okay. Yeah.
We did Grover, during the season. We're not against doing one during the season, but a lot of this, our coaches have just. They ain't even had these guys in pads yet. So. New staff, and we'll work through that.
Have you talked to JT just to, I don't say clear the air, but to see where he's at and where you're at?
We had long talks back in May and June, and we'll have another one here today. I haven't seen him yet. Guys are just now finished getting in.
He did make some statements publicly, right? And I don't know that he talked very generally, but I think there was a message there. Did you have any reaction to that? Did it say anything to you?
No, not really. Every player wants. Every player wants to be with the organization long term. I don't think any player's any different.
So seeing him change his tone, was it surprising at all, or was it expected considering how running backs have sort of been treated in the NFL?
I don't know. Look, it's the market is what the market is, but saying that. Like I've always told you, you pay good players, you pay guys that are gonna help you win, regardless of the position. We think very highly of Jonathan. Unfortunately, we didn't have a great season as a team, and then he's coming off the injury, but Jonathan's a great player, and he's a great person. So I think that'll play out over time and work out the way it should either way.
Obviously, first training camp, the new quarterback, Anthony Richardson. Just kind of generally, what are you kind of looking for him in just this early stage?
Dude, you've been working out. Look at you. You look good, man.
We'll see how
Anyway,
it is.
sorry, go ahead.
You just said it about me.
Something. Look, he had a good offseason. All right, he's in really good hands with Shane, Jim Bob, and Cam. And, it's a day by day. I mean, he's a young player, like with any young player, but he's a young quarterback in this league. We look forward to seeing him compete with Gardner and Sam, who both showed some really good things this spring. But tomorrow's his first day, and now we're rolling. But he's in good hands. He's done the work. He's a great kid. But he's young. There's going to be some up and down moments in camp. There going to be some up and down moments when he eventually plays. But that's part of the process of growing and learning and playing any position in this league.
It feels like with young quarterbacks, as much as what happens on the field, there's also can they handle the nature of being the quarterback, being under that scrutiny? Is he wired well for that?
I think so, because he's very even keeled.
Yeah.
He's very stable in that he doesn't get too high or doesn't get too low. Now, until you get into the fire, you don't really know. And look, the pressure on that position, we all know. I mean, especially when you draft one high, he's automatically stamped as the automatic savior before he's ever played it down. You got to, and him and I have had long talks about, being able to handle the highs and lows of the position, because you have to. Because y'all know how it is, and even the established ones that will have down moments in their, all of a sudden the world says they're done. It's a week-to-week league. That's just what our league is. So how you perform from week to week is pretty much how, what people are going to write. You got to be able to handle that. You got to be able to handle the good and the bad, and take both in stride.
Chris, I'm sorry to go back one.
Is there something you need to see out of Anthony, before he gets on the field?
That's discussions that, Mr. Irsay, Shane, coaching staff, and all of us will have. You don't want to put him out there and he's not ready to handle everything that requires playing the position. So I'll lean heavily on our coaching staff on, what they think and what they think he can handle and what he's ready for. And then eventually, he'll play. But until he's ready, we'll make that determination. And when the coaching staff thinks he's ready to go, then we'll play him.
Jim and Shane have both said that they think that the quarterback needs to play to get better. Ultimately, obviously he has to be ready, but ultimately do you feel the same way?
Yeah, look, you got to get reps. Like with any player, like the more live bullet reps, we can go through camp and get every rep we can, but till you're in a game and you're actually getting those live bullet reps, it's hard to really grow and get better. And, it's just, they have to be ready to handle, because there's going to be some failure, there's going to be some successes, but there's going to be some failure too along the way. So you want them to be ready to be able to handle enough of the offense where we can give them enough tools to where they can perform, and have success. You want to be able to set them up to have some success early, not just all, downhill.
Doesn't it kind of apply to the physical too? Because I think you've said about other quarterbacks in the past, you can work with quarterback coaches and stuff like that, but it all has to be able to happen in the moment on the field, game-wise.
Yeah, look, when the bullets start flying, when it's 11 on 11 and you're playing for keeps, it's different. Even in 11 on 11 practice out here, when they're not getting hit, the threat of getting hit is not there. So until you get in those moments, that's where your real growth takes place.
Would you throw him out there in a smaller package for?
I think time will determine that one. Yeah, what Shane and them decide as a staff.
I know you discussed JT a lot, but Do you know he's gonna be reporting? Like, is that?
Yeah,
you know?
he's reporting. Yeah,
He's reporting.
he's here.
Okay, you haven't
Yeah,
seen him, but he's here.
yes.
Chris, with Anthony, might you have to make a decision on, it may be better for him and the team in the long run to play early, but record-wise, maybe Gardner gives you the better chance earlier. Can you not take that into account?
No, that will be something we weigh. Look, Gardner had an excellent spring. Like, I don't want to underestimate. Like, and every time Gardner's been asked to play, he's played really good football. And look, and he is. Here's the things I really like about Minshew. He is competitive, and he sees himself as the guy. All right, but he's also a great teammate, and he's going to do what's best for the team too. But he's going to compete. So is Sam. They're going to compete to play. I mean, you wouldn't want it any other way. I mean, how do you get better? I mean, to me, that's how you grow. That's how you, when you got real competition with people competing and guys performing, other guys are able to step up and take their game to another level. And that's how you really grow and get better.
Chris, you get the same offensive line that you had last year, gave up 60 sacks, didn't have a good year. What makes you feel like things are going to get better?
Yeah, look, the one thing I think I got overlooked was at the end of the year, they didn't play bad. Like, they played bad early, but the last half of the season, they played pretty good football. And then you get Bernard, who gets another, he's going to take another step. He had an excellent spring. I mean, like with any young tackle, they're going to have some struggles early. And look, he's only going into his second year, so he'll have some struggles, I'm sure, this year too. But he's also grown. He's stronger. He understands what to expect. He'll take another step this year. So I think as a unit, I think we'll get better play out of all of them. From Ryan to Quentin to Braden, I think all of them will play better. Fries has got another year under his belt. We got good competition. I'm not saying we're not going to continue to look, because that's what we do. But I just felt at the end of the year, like we were running the ball really well at the end of the year. And the pass protection needed to be better, which I think will take another step. I think schematically it's going to help with what Shane and them are doing. But time will be the proof of whether we made the right decision or not. There were some points in the draft, I think I talked about this, where we had some guys targeted and, just didn't end up working out. But we like our 4th round pick. And we thought he had a good spring. And we think he's going to add good depth to the group. With Danny Pinner back, we feel like we've got some good pieces. They're young, but that's okay. Okay.
What about cornerback? How do you see that position?
Look, I'm excited. I remember going back in 18. Remember we had Monte was gone, and we had claimed Kenny Moore the year before. We were really young in the secondary, and I think deciding to go that way, we kind of made that decision. After the season, look, we're going to go young again. So we ended up drafting 3 guys. We got some guys internally that we like. Kenny Moore's in a really good spot, and I think he'll have a really big year. We really like Dallas Flowers. Dallas is talented. He's a young player like any, but we think he's going to take a whole nother step. I mean, look, Stephon. I love Stephon Gilmore. He's an unbelievable pro, and I still talk to Stephon. I mean, and he was high. Like, he kept telling me last year, man, this Dallas Flowers is really talented. And he's right, he is. Now, he's got to play, and he's got to prove it. But the times, the snapshot we've given him has been pretty good. Of course, he's going to have some mistakes. And look, we're going to have some up and down play back there. But saying that, it's a young, talented group, between Juju, Rush, who we drafted, Jones, Baker, who was on the team, Kenny, Dallas. We think we've got a good core group of talented corners that just got to play and get better.
Is the plan to stay young, just considering that obviously the Isaiah Rodgers Sr. situation changed? I would imagine your outlook on that room.
I don't know if it really changed my outlook. We drafted 3 corners. There was a reason we drafted 3 of them.
All right, I'm just saying.
Is Juju full go after the wrist?
He'll be a little limited here early, all right, but he'll be, shouldn't be too long. Yeah.
Chris, when you look at the depth chart, what kind of jumps out of position battles that you're going with?
Tight end will be a good one to watch. Corner, you just brought it up. Corner's going to be really fun to watch. Watch how these young guys, come along. Tight end, getting Ogletree back in the mix, who we're really high on, coming off the ACL. He had a great camp last year, and we're expecting, good things from him. Now he's coming off the injury. Second year for Jelani. Granson, every staff that's coached Granson likes Granson, so we're expecting good things out of him, and having Mo back another year. So I think we're going to have really good competition there. Definitely the corner spot, without question.
Has Drew Ogletree been cleared to?
Yes, he's cleared. He'll be a little limited early, and we'll take care of him here this first week, coming off the ACL, first action really back. But no, he's good to go.
This is the first time we've talked to you since Isaiah's situation. What was your reaction to it? And how much more can you do?
No, I'm disappointed, And I had long talks with him and Rashad, and he made bad choices, man. He made bad choice. The league's pretty clear on. I know everybody tries to act like they're clear on what can and can't be done. And they broke the rules and they're paying the price for it. I think they'll learn a lesson, from it. The guys that have been punished for it. It's a shame, but you learn some hard lessons and you move forward. But it's pretty clear to me. Just like, don't bet on football. Don't bet on games, especially when you're in the building. Just be smart.
So it's not like you think we should do more. You think you've done.
We educate. Look, the blinking light's going off now. Guys are getting suspended throughout the league. But we'll continue to educate, on, hey, look, here's what you can and can't do, all right? And you got to make the right choice. And look, ultimately, you not only make the right choice, but make the right choice for the team, because when you make a dumb decision like that, you end up hurting the team.
Did you know about Isaiah before the draft?
No, we didn't know anything.
It's a new position for Julian Blackman a little bit, moving to strong safety. How do you think he can kind of fit into that role?
He had knock on wood here now, he had a great offseason. And his attitude and his temperament was incredible. And I think a little bit where, yes, he's going to be, but I think those positions are interchangeable. Like they're going to both do some of the same duties as the other one will do. So I think the label of strong safety, yes, is it different for him? But look, he handled it really well in the spring. Be anxious to see him out here this camp. But I'd be surprised if Julian doesn't have a really good year.
When you're looking to set a tone for competition in camp, what have you come to appreciate about how Michael Pittman Jr. kind of brings that aspect?
I love Pitt. That freaking dude likes to compete. And he had frustrating moments. He was frustrated because he's a competitor. Here we were as a team and we weren't playing well. And he was frustrated and he's emotional, which I love. I don't mind guys that are emotional and care because they want to win. And guys that want the ball. That shit never bothers. Excuse my language. I'm trying to be better about that. That stuff doesn't bother me. I would rather have a guy like Pitt who wants it and wants to win and does all the little things competitively right, instead of a guy that just kind of accepts who his role is. So having him, his presence, his competitive nature, the way he works, he'll be a little limited early just because we'll be careful with him here this first week or two. But he has been diligent in his work ethic, getting back from this injury. He is highly competitive, and he's a big piece of what we do.
Chris, how will you know that Anthony is ready? What kinds of things will you be looking for that will tell you?
If I wish I had
Good
that.
question.
It is a good question. I don't know if you ever really know, until they hit the bullets, but I think preseason will tell us a lot. These practice camp, preseason games, I think it'll all tell us.
I know that Anthony Richardson is getting a lot of attention, and rightfully so, he's the fourth overall pick. But who are some other rookies that you're excited to see at training camp?
Oh yeah, no, that's fair. Like Juju, we didn't get to see much of Juju because he was limited. Because he couldn't do anything because of the wrist. So it'll be a little bit more before we get him. But seeing Juju, Rush had Rush, he had a little hamstring at the end of OTAs, but Rush had a really good offseason and is really talented. I thought Jones, our 7th round pick out of A&M, I thought he had a really good offseason. The flashes of Mallory, unfortunately, he got hurt during rookie minicamp, but like the rookie minicamp stuff was really strong. Now he's going to be a little bit behind, just missing all the OTAs and stuff, but really looking forward to seeing him.
Chris, with all that,
And then I don't want to forget, like Downs, you'll see. Downs pretty freaking good.
How do you think
He's pretty talented.
Shane will handle things practice-wise? Like anything different from whether it's time, intensity, physicality?
He's got to look. I mean, his big thing right now is like developing a toughness and a mentality of how we're going to play, which that's where our vision matches really similarly. So I think you'll see one that's demanding. We'll have some days where we really push hard, and then he'll back off. He's got a system where he's worked with our medical staff to make sure that we have enough of a load to get the work in, but then we have some days where we're really flying and pushing. Look, I'm really impressed by, when you go through the interview process of a head coach, you don't until you live with them, you don't know. I mean, but you hope you've done the research and spent the time, but he is demanding. Shane's demanding on everybody, which is good. He presses. He knows what he wants, and he presses for what he wants. And I think I like that. I like people that are aggressive and press and tell you exactly, this is what I need. All right, let's work on it.
How much of our
Let's go last one here.
How much of our priority is it to keep Pittman here long term? Be the same whether a deal gets done, doesn't get done, never gets done.
Yeah. No, well, look, I just kind of went through what I think of him, and I mean, look, that year's draft was really good. You look back on it now. Unfortunately, but between JT, Pitt, and Blackman, unfortunately, Blackman had the injury, with the Achilles, but that ended up being a really good draft, and they're all good players. So I think time will tell. I mean, things usually work themselves out as they should.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Thank y'all.
There's Chris Ballard. That's a whole lot of Chris Ballard there. A lot of looks, a lot of listens, a lot of hey, a lot of that stuff, a little bit of glad handing, but we expect that from Chris Ballard, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. He's in a good mood. Camp begins tomorrow. Can't wait for that. Good to hear what Chris Ballard had to say. Want to remind you, for those of you who waited through all of this, you deserve a reward. Here is how you can win an Anthony Richardson Indiana Knights jersey. All you got to do is follow this channel and Two Big Brains. Follow that channel and shoot me a DM on a social media of your choice. I got to get your address, so I've got to have a way to contact you. If you DM me, I know how to contact you and get your address. All you have to do is those 3 things. We're going to give away one Anthony Richardson Indiana Knights jersey as soon as they are shipped. Can't wait. And we're going to have a great time at camp all month long. If you see me out there, make sure and say hello.